Welcome all. Today our topic is arrays. First of all, we should know what is an array. An array is a data structure which can store can store a number of elements, but each element should be of the same type. So, in other words, it is a collection of elements, but each element is of the same type. So, if one element is an integer, all elements should be integers. If we are storing characters in array, so all things should be characters. Here you can see how an array can store things. So in this diagram you can see this is an array. More specifically, it is a 1D array, a single dimension array, because it is only on this one axis. And in this array we can see there are 5 elements. In fact, there are 5 integers: 2, 5, 3, 9, 1. These are 5 integers which are stored in this array. This whole array is a data structure, and we have named it here A. So the name of this whole thing is A. And how to distinguish between various elements? The first element will, this first thing will be called A of 0, means the first element. Why 0? Why not A of 1? Because we know in C things start from 0, indices start from 0, and when we map an array in C, then things will start from 0. So A0 means the first element of the array. 0 is the index, A is the name of array, and this thing implies the first element of the array, that is 2. This, the second element of the array, that is 5, and so on. There are 5 elements in this array, but the last index will be 4 because we have started from 0. So this is a graphical representation of an array. Now let us try to implement this thing in Dev C++. So let us say we have to create an array and store certain integers in it. So create an array and enter values into it. Fine. And then print the same value should be printed then. So let us start writing this program. The first thing we need is to declare an array because it itself is a data structure. Since we are here intending to store integers in the array, we will write int. So the type of array is int. Let us call the array as A, and since this is the declaration line, we have to mention here the size of the array. So we can say the size of the array is, for example, 5. So here, when we are declaring the array, this long bracket does not imply index. Here it means, it implies what is the size of the array. Had it not been a declaration, then this would have mean the index. A5 would have mean the sixth element of the array. But since it is a declaration line statement, because of this becomes a declaration statement. So we are declaring a data type. So its meaning here is, the long bracket means that declare an array of name A with the size 5. Let us store values into this array. One way to store the values is directly go here and write equal to, and then in curly brackets write the values. For example, 2 comma 4 comma 6 comma 1 comma 8. So when you put things like this in a curly bracket, automatically these 5 numbers will be stored in this array A of size 5. This is one way of storing values. And if we want to take the values from the user, then this is not the right way. We should do scanning in that thing. So there we will not write it like this. In that case, if we want to take the values from the user, we will instead write printf enter the size of array. So it is the user that we will ask that what is the size of array. So the user will give some value. So the value obviously will be an integer. So we will take that value and we will store that value, for example, in n. N implies the size of array, and this n also we have to declare here n. So now the user has told us that the size of my array is something. Because we don't know what the user will give the size of array, it varies from his usage. If he has a smaller set of elements, he will give a smaller value. If he has a larger set of elements, he will give a larger value. So to be on the safer side, we write here int, for example, 100. We keep a larger value. So we are supposing that the user will not give a value greater than 100. He can give any size below 100. For example, if the user says 10, so out of this 100 sized array, first 10 things, blocks will be used, all others will be kept like such. Now we have asked the user about the size of array. Now let us ask him about the elements of array. So we will say printf enter elements of the array. Fine. So we will write integer array because our array is an integer array. Then we will scan those elements. Since those elements will be integers, %d, comma, and when we take an element from the user from the keyboard, we write ampersand, and then the thing in which we have to catch that element, in which we have to store that element. So we have to store that element in array A, but user at a time will give only one element. So the first element should go to A of 0. So the first element that the user will give me will go to A of 0. Then the second will go to A of 1. So then I have to write scanf %d, comma, ampersand A of 1. Then the third element A of 2, then A of 3 and A of 4. In this way we can take 5 elements. Since we can clearly see here that it is a repetition, whenever there is a repetition, it is better to use a loop, because loop will do this repetition, this iteration itself. We don't need to write this scanf multiple times. So we say that this is not needed. Let us instead write a loop here. So we will start the loop from the first index of the array and end it at the last index of the array. The first element of index of the array is 0, as I told you. Then I less than, what is the last index of the array? Because the size of array is n, the last index of the array will be n minus 1. So which is same as, we can write here I is less than n, means it will stop just before n, which is n minus 1. Why n minus 1? Because we are starting from 0. So if n is 5, we have to stop at 4. So that is why I less than n. In other words, I less than or equal to n minus 1. And since the index moves in this way, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is means it will be I plus plus. So this scan thing will be inside the loop. Now we will have to change this here also. Here we will write I, because I has to change continuously. The loop, if suppose the n value of n is 5, the loop will run 5 times. First number will be stored in A of I, means A of 0. The number second will be stored in A of 1, third in A of 2, fourth in A of 3, fifth in A of 4, and then the loop will terminate. So we are done. By this we can scan the array. So this is the way how we scan a particular 1D array. Now we are done with inputting values into the array. Let us now output those values, print the values. So if we want to print the values of an array, we will write printf %d. Fine. What are the values of array? The values are a of 0, a of 1, a of 2, a of 3 and a of 4. Instead of writing it repeatedly, we can write it a of I and then put these things into a loop. Again the loop will start from 0 less than n I plus plus, because it is the same array. So this printf will be here. In this way things will be printed. So once all things are printed, our job is done. Since we have to display many numbers, we can put a space here so that they will be a little space will be there in between various numbers. And let us save this program. Let us call it array ARR. It is a C program. Let us compile it. It is showing some error. The error is in I. Okay, it is saying that you have used I, but you have not declared it. Fine. You are using I, but you are not declaring it. So we have to write here I also, int n comma I. Now this is fine. Let us run this program. So what is the size of array? Let us say we are taking an array of size 5. Enter the elements of the array. So let us say anything 3, 5, 1, 9, 2. So the elements were stored in the array, then those elements were displayed for us. This is 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, 9, 2, and they were displayed in the same pattern. So in this way, we can create an array of a certain size, then put elements into it. Then we can use those elements for various reasons, and we can also display them.